Welcome to the world of ancient Greece, where wonders surround every step and heroes rival the gods. Today, I'll tell you the story of the first labor of Heracles, the legendary son of Zeus, a man whose strength and determination became a symbol of courage for all humanity. But Heracles' path was full of trials, and his first labor proved to be one of the most unexpected. Who was Heracles? His name echoed like thunder throughout all of Hellas. The son of mighty Zeus, he inherited a strength unmatched by any mortal. But even such great gifts came at a price. The jealousy of the goddess Hera pursued Heracles from the moment of his birth. As an infant, she sent 2 enormous snakes to kill him, but little Heracles strangled them with his tiny hands. This was the first sign of the extraordinary fate that awaited him. But the life of a great hero was far from easy. Due to Hera's machinations, Heracles once lost his sanity and committed a terrible crime. To atone for his actions, he was sentenced to serve King Eurystheus, a weak but cunning ruler. To cleanse his name, Heracles was tasked with performing 12 incredible labors, each more impossible than the last. The first task? The Nemean lion. This monster terrorized the villages near Nemea. Its hide was said to be impenetrable by swords or arrows. People abandoned their homes, leaving everything behind to escape. Some even whispered that the lion was born of Typhon and Echidna, the most terrifying creatures of Greek myth. No one could stop it, not even the most skilled hunters. Eurystheus, eager to humiliate Heracles, summoned him to his court. "If you are as strong as they say, go and kill the Nemean lion," he said with a smirk. Heracles accepted the challenge with a bow and set off. He knew deadly danger awaited him, but he had no doubt in his own strength. The journey to Nemean forest. The journey was long. Heracles crossed mountains, forded rivers, and trudged through dense forests. As he neared Nemea, he encountered abandoned villages. Roofs were caved in, doors broken down, and everywhere were claw marks from a massive beast. The people he met told horrifying stories. "That lion killed my son," an elderly woman said, her voice trembling. "It appears out of nowhere, like a shadow, and its roar shakes the earth." Heracles followed the trail deep into the forest. He saw the remains of animals, shattered trees, and massive paw prints. Night fell as he reached the heart of the woods, but he felt no fear. He knew the lion was close, and he was ready for it. The fight with the Nemean lion. At dawn, Heracles saw it for the first time. The Nemean lion. It was a monster of unimaginable power. Its golden hide shimmered in the sunlight, and its eyes burned with fury. The lion roared, and the sound thundered through the forest, shaking the trees. Heracles drew his bow and loosed his first arrow, but it simply bounced off the lion's hide. He tried again and again, but none of the arrows could pierce its skin. Realizing his weapons were useless, he drew his sword and charged at the beast, but the blade glanced off its body. The lion lunged at Heracles with terrifying speed. Heracles knew there was only one way to win, with his own strength. Discarding his weapons, he waited for the lion to strike. As the beast pounced, Heracles grabbed it by its mane. They wrestled fiercely. The lion roared and clawed at him, but Heracles held tight. Their strength was evenly matched, but Heracles summoned every ounce of his might and finally strangled the creature. The forest fell silent. Everything around him stilled. Heracles stood over his defeated foe, his chest heaving, victorious at last. The first labor was complete. But his task was not yet finished. To prove his triumph, Heracles needed to skin the lion. Its hide was so tough that no ordinary knife could cut through it. Using the lion's own claws, Heracles removed the hide and crafted it into a cloak, his first trophy, which would protect him in future battles. Heracles returned to Mycenae. The people greeted him as a savior and a hero. Everyone could see he wore the lion's impenetrable hide as a cloak, a trophy no one else could have earned. But no one feared Heracles' victory more than King Eurystheus. Seeing Heracles in the lion's skin, the cowardly king turned pale and hid inside a great bronze jar. From that moment on, he avoided looking Heracles in the eye, delivering orders through messengers. This labor was only the first step on Heracles' journey to immortality. He had proven that even the most fearsome monster could be defeated with strength and determination. But greater challenges lay ahead. This was only the beginning. What was the next trial? Stay tuned to find out. The story of Heracles is one of courage, strength, and self-belief. It teaches us that no challenge is insurmountable. Even in the face of the impossible, a hero will find a way to triumph. What about you? How do you face your fears and challenges? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories about legendary heroes. Heracles' first labor, the slaying of the Nemean lion, marked the beginning of his legendary journey. But as soon as he returned victorious, King Eurystheus, in his jealousy and fear, devised an even deadlier task. The second labor would test not only Heracles' strength, but also his wit. This is the story of how Heracles confronted the monstrous Hydra of Lerna. After defeating the Nemean lion, Heracles became even more revered among the people. His strength was unmatched, his courage unparalleled. But for King Eurystheus, Heracles' triumph only deepened his hatred and envy. He summoned Heracles to the palace and said, "Your next task is far more dangerous. Go to the swamps of Lerna, where a terrifying creature, the Hydra, has made its lair. Destroy it and prove your worth." The Lernaean Hydra was no ordinary beast. Born of Typhon and Echidna, just like the Nemean lion, it was a serpent with multiple heads. Some said it had 5, others said 9, and many claimed the number was uncountable. But the most terrifying feature of the Hydra was this: if one head was severed, 2 more would grow in its place. Its breath was poisonous. Its very presence corrupted the land. Crops withered, animals died, and people abandoned the region, leaving behind nothing but despair. Heracles, undeterred by the king's words, set out for Lerna. This task, however, was different from the first. Strength alone wouldn't be enough. Heracles knew he needed a plan. He sought the help of his nephew, Iolaus, a young man full of courage and loyalty. Together, they prepared for the journey, gathering torches, weapons, and supplies for what promised to be an epic battle. The journey to Lerna Heracles and Iolaus traveled through treacherous terrain to reach the swamps of Lerna. As they approached, the air grew heavy, filled with the stench of death. The once green marshlands were now a wasteland, poisoned by the Hydra's presence. Trees were blackened, and the ground was littered with the bones of animals that had strayed too close. Villagers warned them to turn back. "No one who enters the Hydra's domain ever returns," they said. But Heracles remained steadfast. He was not just fighting for his honor, but also to rid the land of this monstrous plague. Deep in the swamp, Heracles finally encountered the Hydra. The creature was colossal, its serpent-like body coiled around the ruins of an ancient temple. Its heads writhed in all directions, hissing and snapping, each one as fierce as the next. When the Hydra saw Heracles, it let out a deafening roar, and its poisonous breath filled the air. Even the hero felt its power as his vision blurred for a moment. Heracles charged at the Hydra, swinging his club with all his might. He struck one of the heads, severing it cleanly. But as the villagers had warned, 2 new heads grew back in its place, each more ferocious than the one before. Heracles gritted his teeth. He had expected this, but knew he couldn't fight the beast with brute strength alone. As the Hydra lunged at him, Iolaus, standing on a nearby rock, shouted, "We need to stop the heads from growing back." Inspired by his nephew's words, Heracles devised a plan. Each time he severed a head, Iolaus would use a torch to cauterize the stump, preventing the Hydra from regenerating. Together, they worked in perfect coordination. Heracles swung his weapon with relentless precision, and Iolaus followed close behind, burning the wounds before new heads could form. The battle raged on, and the Hydra's attacks grew more desperate. One of its heads, larger than the others, loomed above the rest. This was its immortal head, a head that could not be killed by any means. Heracles knew he needed to act quickly. Using all his strength, he struck the immortal head with his club, stunning the beast. Then, with an unbreakable resolve, he lifted a massive boulder and pinned the immortal head beneath it, trapping it forever. Finally, the Hydra was defeated. The swamp, once filled with the monster's poison, began to clear. Heracles stood victorious once again. But this battle had taken more than just his strength. It had tested his resourcefulness, his courage, and his bond with Iolaus. Heracles returned to Mycenae, carrying the Hydra's poisonous blood in a jar. He had dipped his arrows into the venom, knowing it would make them lethal in future battles. But when he approached King Eurystheus, the cowardly ruler refused to even look at him. Eurystheus declared that this labor would not count, claiming Heracles had received help from Iolaus. But the people knew the truth. Heracles had done what no other could, ridding the land of a terror that had plagued it for years. This labor cemented Heracles' legacy as a hero, not just of strength, but of intelligence and teamwork. The Hydra was a beast that many believed undefeatable, yet Heracles had proven that even the most impossible challenges could be overcome with determination and strategy. But his journey was far from over. The next task would take him to the peaks of Mount Erymanthos, where a savage boar awaited. What happened there? Stay tuned for the next chapter in the epic story of Heracles. The story of the Lernaean Hydra teaches us that strength alone is not always enough to overcome life's challenges. Sometimes it takes strategy, the support of those we trust, and unwavering determination to succeed. How do you tackle the seemingly impossible in your own life? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more tales of legendary heroes. you.